Hello and thanks for joining us for the news on NTA International. I am Elizabeth Omori. Now let's take a look at the headlines. Republic of Korea solicits Nigeria's support to host World Expo 2023 in Busan, Korea. International Fund for Agricultural Development pledges commitment towards improving agricultural activities in West and Central Africa. Plus, massive gas station explosion in Russia leaves 35 dead, dozens injured. It's cheery news for Nigeria's ICT sector as a leading global technology company, Google, offers 1.2 billion naira grant for the Tinubu administration's 1 million jobs initiative. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who received the group at the State House, Abuja, commended the company for partnering the federal government in reducing unemployment index in Nigeria. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
The announcement of a grant of 1.2 billion naira to support the Tinubu administration's digital jobs initiative is another opportunity for economic growth in Nigeria. As the Tinubu administration hit the ground running for businesses, the potentials of Nigeria's young population will have a unique opportunity to harness the potentials to take advantage of the digital sector. Vice President Kashim Shettima said the knowledge-driven post-industrial age, Nigeria will take advantage of the unique opportunity to fill the anticipated global talent deficit. Commercial banks are doing a lot in terms of digital skills, training 1,000 youths to create employment opportunity, Vice President Shettima said. The director of Google West Africa, Mr. Olumide Balogun, said the company was excited about the Tinubu administration's vision of creating 1 million digital jobs and was committing over 1.2 billion naira in grant to support the initiative. He said the company, through the program, will provide digital skills to over 20,000 youths and women to enhance and improve their lives and livelihoods, and also enable several startups grow and create thousands of jobs in the sector. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Into stories around the world, Mali's military leader Assimi Goïta revealed on Tuesday that he recently held a phone conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the current situation in Niger. Justin Bemoui brings us details.
In a message shared on the social media platform X, formerly Twitter, Assimi Goïta stated that Putin emphasized the significance of a peaceful resolution to ensure stability in the Sahel region. Western nations are apprehensive that Niger might follow the path of Mali, where a previous coup led to the involvement of Russian Wagner Group mercenaries in counterinsurgency efforts. Putin has urged the restoration of constitutional order in Niger. On the other hand, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, expressed support for the coup. Interestingly, there has been a notable surge in pro-Russian sentiment in Niger since the coup, evident in rallies where junta supporters waved Russian flags. Justin Bemoui, NTA News.
3 alleged Pisces from Russia, all Bulgarian citizens, were arrested in the United Kingdom as part of a broad investigation into national security, according to the British broadcaster BBC. Justin Bemoui brings us details once again.
The 3 in police custody since February have been identified as Orlin Rusev, 45, Bizar Zambazov, 41, and Katerina Ivanova, 31, who had been living in the country for several years. They were allegedly working for the Russian secret services and have been accused of carrying fake identity documents with improper intention. The documents include passports, identity cards, and other documents from the United Kingdom, Bulgaria, France, Italy, Spain, Croatia, Slovenia, Greece, and the Czech Republic. The 3 are according to the BBC, were arrested under the Official Secrets Act by detectives from the London Metropolitan Police's Counter-Terrorism Unit, better known as Scotland Yard, which has national policing responsibility for espionage. Rousseff was domiciled in the county of Norfolk, east of England, while the other two lived in the neighborhood of Harrow, northwest of the British capital. Rousseff entered the UK in 2009 and spent several years working in financial services, while Zambazov worked in hospitals and Ivanova was a laboratory assistant. They spent the last decade in the UK building up seemingly normal lives, hiding in plain sight. Zambazov and Ivanova lived together in Harrow, northwest London, for the last 10 years. Former neighbors of the couple said they brought round pies and cakes as gifts. The three are due to go on trial at the Old Bailey in London in January. This case follows other operations of the Russian secret services in recent years on British territory. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Russian officials on Tuesday reported a massive explosion at a gas station in the country that left at least 35 people dead and dozens injured. Russia's emergency ministry said Tuesday that an explosion Monday night on the outskirts of Machakala, the capital of the Southern Republic of Dagestan, left a total of 105 people injured, including 35 people who ultimately succumbed to their injuries. Dagestan governor said 3 of those who died were children. Officials said a fire started at a nearby car repair shop and spread to the gas station, prompting the blast. Russia's state news agency reported, citing the country's emergency ministry. The report said the subsequent fire covered an area of approximately 600 square meters. Some of those injured in the explosion were airlifted to Moscow for treatment. Russian authorities said they have launched a criminal investigation into the incident. Dagestan authorities said they are compensating the families of the deceased, who will receive about $10,000 each, and those who were injured will receive about $2,000 to $4,000. Tuesday was declared the day of mourning in Dagestan. Still on the foreign scene, Donald Trump and 18 allies have been indicted in Georgia for scheming to overturn his 2020 election loss in the state. Prosecutor turned to a statute normally associated with mobsters to accuse the former president, lawyers and other top aides in a sweeping criminal conspiracy aimed at keeping him in power. Justin Bemunyi brings us details.
Charging 19 individuals with violations of Georgia law.
The 97-page indictment details dozens of acts by Mr. Trump and his allies to undo his defeat in the battleground state, including hectoring Georgia's Republican Secretary of State to find enough votes to keep him in power, pestering officials with bogus claims of voter fraud, and attempting to persuade Georgia politicians to ignore the will of voters and appoint a new slate of electoral college electors favorable to Mr. Trump. It also outlines a scheme to tamper with voting machines in one Georgia county and steal data. Other defendants include former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Mr. Trump's personal attorney Rudy Giuliani, and a Trump administration Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark, who advanced his efforts to undo his election loss in Georgia. Multiple other lawyers who devised legally dubious ideas aimed at overturning the results, including John Eastman, Sidney Powell, and Kenneth Chesbrough, were also charged.
I am giving the defendants the opportunity to voluntarily surrender no later than noon on Friday, the 25th day of August, 2023. I remind everyone here that an indictment is only a series of allegations based on a grand jury's determination of probable cause to support the charge.
She also said she plans to ask for a trial date within 6 months. The document describes the former President of the United States, the former White House Chief of Staff, Mr. Trump's attorneys, and the former Mayor of New York as members of a criminal organization who were part of an enterprise that operated in Georgia and other states. Language that conjures up the operations of mob bosses and gang leaders. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Away from foreign stories, the federal government has filed a 20-count charge against the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. The fresh count charge has been filed before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Maitama, Abuja. In one of the counts, Godwin Emefiele is being alleged to conferring unlawful advantage on himself during his tenure as governor of the CBN. With the fresh counts, Emefiele is expected to be arraigned soon in Abuja. Meanwhile, the federal government has applied to withdraw their firearms charge against the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, pending before the Federal High Court, Lagos. In an oral application, the Director of Public Prosecution at the Federal Ministry of Justice, Mohammed Abubakar, made the application before the presiding judge, Justice Nicholas Owiebo. Mohammed Abubakar told the court that the application followed the result of further investigations on the matter. Justice Owiebo has adjourned till Thursday, August 17, 2023, to rule on the application. Still from the judiciary, dispute resolution is the primary duty of any competent court, and competent judicial officers are employed to adjudicate in various courts. Olabode Ariwa reports that to cope with the ever-emerging and increasing challenges in the justice sector, new magistrates were recently recruited, with the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the Judicial College of England and Wales working towards enhancing their capacity. The collaboration courtesy of the National Judicial Council, NTAi.
The justice sector is no doubt saddled with enormous challenges as more people than ever approach courts for settlement of disputes. This therefore increases the workload on the judicial officers, necessitating recruitment of new judicial officers by the National Judicial Council. The latest is this set of magistrates undergoing tutelage in Abuja on the appropriate code of conduct and comportment to enable them stand out in their duties. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Oluka Edariwola, who offered advice to the new magistrates, says continuous self-development is key to a successful career on the bench.
A judicial officer should be true and faithful to the Constitution and the law, uphold the cause of justice by abiding with provisions of Constitution and the law, and should of course acquire and maintain professional competence.
The Judicial College of England and Wales could not agree more, as they are at the conference to share experiences with the new inductees.
Judicial training worldwide focuses more and more on ethics, judgecraft, leadership and management.
Upon conclusion of their induction, the magistrates are expected to be deployed to fill vacancies at judicial divisions across the country. In Abuja, Olabode Ariwa, NTA News.
To bilateral relations, the Republic of Korea is soliciting Nigeria's support to host the World Expo 2023 in Busan, Korea. The delegation of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea made the plea when they paid a courtesy call on the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Republic of Korea.
Nigeria and the Republic of Korea have continued to enjoy cordial bilateral relations. Now, a delegation from the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, led by the Korean ambassador to Nigeria, Kim Yong-cho, is here to fashion out ways of deepening socio-economic ties between both countries. A member of the delegation, Lee Hun-sung, who spoke through an interpreter, solicited Nigeria's support and participation at the World Expo 2023 in Busan, Korea. He expressed the hope that President Tinubu and the Korean president will have a fruitful chat on the sidelines of the upcoming G20 summit in New Delhi, India. Secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, urged them to take advantage of the investment-friendly policies of the federal government and the African Continental Free Trade Area agreements to advance mutual socio-economic benefits.
Korea and Nigeria have everything by way of resources, human and material resources, and technology on your part to work in a complementary manner. It is an opportunity to expand, to explore and to expand bilateral relations.
Both countries are also looking forward to leveraging opportunities of the Korea-African Summit, slated sometime next year for a more strengthened bilateral relations. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 7 on NTA International. Let's take a breather. More reports when we return. Just stay. You're still watching the news on NTA International. Investment, establishment and implementation of smart traffic management, telemedicine and other digital services are necessary tools for the advancement of socio-economic development in the country. This was made known at the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the National Space Research and Development Agency and partners in Abuja. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
In-depth surveys of more than 400 cities worldwide show that most of them are struggling to cope with disruptive changes to mobility management due to rapid urbanization, limited space on streets, overstretched personnel, and transport infrastructure. This Memorandum of Understanding between the National Space Research and Development Agency and development partners is to domesticate radio frequency identification technology, RFID, to improve traffic flow, safety, and reduce congestion. Director General of the Space Agency, Dr. Halidu Shaba, said the system will make a significant difference in the way people travel, reduce congestion by up to 20%, and also improve air quality and reduce noise pollution.
People that are going to use the RFID will be able to, tell people about traffic, and we are going to be able to divert traffic from, if there is congestion, you will know on time, and you'll be able to take a different route.
The second one is for Ministry of Health to again do a digital transformation for the federal hospitals, to issue a digital identity for every citizen. Once he step into any hospital with just scanning his card, will be able to retrieve his electronic medical profile.
The technology partners say will also help in curbing farmers-herders clashes in the country.
The same way that we'll be pesting on those animals when they are moving. Even if the rustlers takes the animal, wherever they are going, you'll be able to track them at every movement.
The innovative traffic management system uses a unique RFID tag that will be attached to vehicles and send signals to a central computer system to optimize traffic control, safety and flow, curb car thefts and illegal vehicles in the country. Adebola Brooksland, NTA News.
A bit from the oil and gas sector, the presidency says there is no increase in petroleum products prices at this time, as the president is convinced, based on information before him, that Nigeria can maintain current pricing without reversing its deregulation policy. This assurance follows the recent strike threat from the organized labor union in the country in case of any pump price. The presidential special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, who briefed the State House Press Corps, says the president is determined to maintain competitive tension within subsectors of the petroleum industry. The presidency also affirms that there are presently inefficiencies within the midstream and downstream petroleum subsectors. Once swiftly addressed and cleaned up, will ensure that Nigeria will maintain current prices.
Drawn up, as well as policy implemented, follows the cue that there will not be any single one entity dominating the market. The market has been deregulated, it has been liberalized, and we are moving forward in that direction without looking back. We have seen that at the inception of our deregulation policy as of June 1, as Mr. President took office, we have seen PMS consumption in the country drop immediately from 67 million liters per day consumption down to 46 million liters per day consumption. The impact is evident. What it also does mean, though, is that we are not at the end of the tunnel. There is still a bit of darkness to travel through to get toward the light. And we are pleading with Nigerians to please be patient with us. And as we promised from the beginning, we will be open with Nigerians, we will be transparent with them.
The presidency also acknowledged that with the current situation, the price of petrol in Nigeria remains the cheapest in the West African sub-region. The NNPC Limited had on Monday stated that there will be no increase in the pump price of petroleum metal spirit anywhere in the country. The International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, pledges more commitment towards improving agricultural activities in Western Central Africa. Nigeria will be assisted in meeting towards achieving our food system goals. Musa Ali reports.
West and Central Africans made a commitment to the United Nations food system designed to eradicate hunger and malnutrition around the world. The International Fund for Agricultural Development has over the years committed resources towards agricultural and rural development. This therefore necessitated the holding of this meeting hosted by Nigeria on financial management under the United Nations agency.
IFAD is moving. We are moving from a transactional-based approach to an analytical-based approach with regards to how we analyze and provide disbursement to the project.
You know, financial management is key for any project. Remember, these are resources that are harnessed by our government. And it's key that we know the best practices and also to be able to manage funds that are meant for the rural poor.
On the Nigerian commitment to the United Nations food system, IFAD is to work with the federal government towards alleviating hunger and poverty.
The Vice President of the federal government of Nigeria headed an event in Rome on innovative financing for food system transformation. So this is about innovating in financial management for greater results for the smallholder farmers, for agriculture, and for economic growth.
IFAD is implementing value chain development program in Nigeria, which is boosting production of rice, cassava, as well as rural development in the country. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Still on financial matters, the headline inflation rate for July 2023 increased to 24.08% from 22.79% recorded in June 2023, representing an increase of 1.29 percentage points from the June 2023 headline inflation. The latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics show that on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 4.44 percentage points higher compared to the rate recorded in July 2022, which was 19.64%. The data also shows that the increase in the deadline index for July 2023 was attributed to an increase in contributions of some items in the basket of goods and services at the divisional level witnessed in food and non-alcoholic beverages, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuel, clothing and footwear, transport, furnishing and household equipment, and maintenance, education as well as health. Food component sub-index for July 2023 increased by 26.98% on a year-on-year basis, 4.97 percentage points higher relative to the rate recorded in June 2022, 22.02%. The rise in food index on a year-on-year basis was caused by increase in prices of oil and fat, bread and cereals, fish, potatoes, yam and other tubers, fruits, meat, vegetable, milk, cheese and eggs. The all-item index for July 2023 on a year-on-year basis was highest in Kogi, Lagos and Ondo, while the states with the lowest rise in headline inflation on a year-on-year basis are Borno, Jigawa and Sokoto, 20%. And next, a look at the weather prospects. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good evening.